Hi, everyone. Welcome to the B side. I'm your host, Natty, with my co host, Nia.
Hello.
And today we're actually not drinking, we're drinking coffee.
I just want to point out it's because it's like a Tuesday afternoon. I'm trying to be responsible
Yeah,
because under normal
responsible adulting.
circumstances, no.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with drinking. I think that as long
Oh, we know how you feel, remember? I'm pretty sure it was the last recording that you discussed that you thought it was okay to be drunk at work if you work at a liquor store.
a
So
liquor store, that is correct. I did say that, and I still feel the same way. So,
I stand by
um,
my position.
So, yes, it is right after 4th of July. I was about to say Memorial Day, but it's not Memorial Day. It is right after 4th of July, and we are going to start a little mini series that's going to be about being the victim. So, we're going to get right to it.
Mhm.
So, about a week, I don't know, it's probably been like a week and a half, who knows, all the days, I feel like, with COVID and
Has
everything
it? It
going on in
hasn't
the
been
world,
that
they kind
long,
of,
has it?
yes, I'm almost, this it'll be 2 weeks already. It's insane. But
Okay.
so let's set the scene. Saturday night, I went out with my parents. All of my immediate, like, family, like mom, dad, brother, that type of scenario, they all
Mm-hmm.
have, and my daughter, they all have June birthdays. So
Ooh.
literally from the beginning of June, we have the 9th, the 13th, the 19th, and the 28th. So before, when we were balling and inflation wasn't so high, we would go to multiple dinners to, because I don't like to put
Nobody wants to
everybody's
share their
theme.
birthday celebration.
Yeah, I don't care if you were born on Christmas. I'm going to give you a Christmas gift and a birthday gift. Like,
Right.
that's the type of person that I am. I don't like to, like, bundle everything up. But anyways, so this year we try to do a little bit of separate things separately, and then like one big thing. So anyways, we went out to dinner. I went out with my parents. My brother is now getting over COVID, so he didn't make it. So we had a
Mm.
great dinner, come back home, and we took Ryan's truck and we come back home. And, we got home like at 9 o'clock. And we came, did our little routine. We were probably in bed by 10. We are early bed people.
Mm-hmm.
So Sunday, I get up and it's like 6, which is my usual because I'm used to waking up early. So I was like, you know what? It's Sunday. This is like my only day to really sleep in. So I'm going to go back to bed. And I go back to bed. Excuse me. Now it's like 8, and the ring goes off. And I'm like, who the hell? Immediately I looked at Ryan. I'm like, did you order an Amazon package? And because it's Sunday, it's 8 a.m. Like, why is someone
I
ringing our
feel like that's
doorbell?
just all such a post-pandemic question. Did you order
It
something?
is. Right. That's all. Literally, that's the only, that or solicitators, which I would hope that you did not have the balls to come to
Mm.
somebody's
On a
house on
Sunday
a Sunday
morning at
morning.
8 o'clock.
Right. Right. So I look in the ring, and there is a officer at the door with like a notepad. So immediately, like, your mind goes to something negative. Why would this officer be at the house? So I like start getting nervous, which is why I cannot commit crimes, because I'm like, I'm already getting nervous. I'm like shaking. I'm trying to like find my clothes. And Ryan's like, oh,
You didn't do anything. They're not here to pick you up.
right. Sure. But I don't know. That's just where my head goes. Like, or something happened to one of my family members is
Yeah.
really what I thought. Either something happened in the neighborhood or something happened to my family members. I am a CSU queen. Um and I have watched Olivia Benson and Team probably twice. There's 23 seasons.
Are you an
And
honorary member of SB?
I honestly could probably be the president of the club. My husband absolutely hates it. He spoils everything for me because he's like, oh, there they go. They found something. Or he'll be like, oh, cue the music. So he is
I love him.
show spoiler. But I don't care. He's like, how do you watch this? It's the same freaking story. It's spun around 10 million ways. I don't care. I love it. To me, that's
I just want to solve crimes.
I'm not I just want to solve crimes, and I am not a reality TV person. When I was like 19, sure, but now like I don't watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians. I don't watch The Real Housewives. Like that's not my thing. I like crime. Like you're gonna kill someone, and I'm gonna try to figure out who you were before the show's over. I'm all about it. So Ryan, my dog Coco, is a Rottweiler at heart. So she's like going, because she knows the ring sound. So she's like already like on edge. So Ryan goes to get the door, and with the ring, you can like listen to what's going on outside the door. And all I heard was, are you two legally married? So now I'm like, what the hell? So yeah. I was like, what? So Ryan comes back in the door and he's like, babe, someone stole your car. And I'm like, huh? I was like, what do you mean someone stole my car? And he's like, the police officer's at the door. And he started off with, do you own a 2019 Ford Explorer?
Okay, but let's pause for a second, because I need you to tell everyone where your car was prior to all of this, because it's very pertinent to the story.
Yeah, it is. So my car was in my driveway. Like when we got home that night, I drove home. It was there because Ryan's big ass truck. So we have 3 cars. So my car was there because you have to really like angle it to get in the parking spot with his truck because it's so long. So my car was there. And I mean, you've been to my house many of times. It's not like I live in a horrible neighborhood.
You don't even live deep into the neighborhood either. Like literally, you're like one turn off the main road. So it's not like you were all the way back in the cut and no one can see you. No, you're on a corner. Front.
And literally, yes. Like we live so close to the beginning that by the time I hit the corner, I can hit my garage door opener and the garage door is open by the time I get there. So immediately a million things go to mind. So I get my ID, I go outside and I speak to the officer. So that's why he was asking Ryan if we were legally married, because it is my vehicle. Yeah. Right. It is my vehicle. It is registered under my name. So I go outside, I give the guy my license, and naturally I'm like looking to see if the car is there. The car is not there.
Like maybe they made a mistake.
Right. Like, no, my car was not there. So obviously you have so many questions. My first question was, did they destroy my car? Because, I didn't even get a chance to report the car missing. They came to me before I even got up to, our routine on Sunday is we get up, we have coffee, we usually go get breakfast, and then, we go about our day or figure out what we're going to do. So I didn't even have the opportunity to do that. So then he tells me the car is in St. Pete, which for reference is about 45 minutes to an hour away from my house. And he knows nothing because the St. Pete PD called them, Hillsborough County, and was like, hey, we found this car. It's registered in your county. So, of course, we are Libras. And I had a ton of questions. And first of all, I am 35 years old. I only know one other person who's ever gotten their car stolen. Like, to me, it's not a common thing, but unfortunately, as I've learned through this little journey here, it is very common. And I don't even know how to explain why. So I call St. Pete PD, and he's telling me, basically you call in, it's like a switchboard, and you say, hey, they found my car, here's my case number. So the officer calls me right away, and he's like, your car's here. He's like, it doesn't look damaged. He said, but you need to come pick it up fairly quickly, because if we tow it, or if we call for it to be towed, you are responsible for that. Yeah. So
Wait,
I'm
wait,
like,
wait, wait, wait.
so
Someone else steals my car.
yes.
You tow it from where it is. Not per my request, but I
Right.
guess because that's your protocol. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the protocol. It's
And then I gotta pay
so
for it.
right, right. So I'll start off by saying that obviously when things like this happen to you, when you are a victim, your mind kind of goes blank,
Right.
because you're caught off guard. I mean, again, I never expected for my car to be stolen. So he's like explaining to me where to go, and I was so like caught up in the moment that my car, because it is newer, with the Ford has an app, and it will literally take you to the exact spot where your car is. But at the time when he was like giving me directions, explaining to me, giving me the name of the apartment complex, I was like my mind was just not even thinking that, the app gave me the directions. So we're both like in disbelief. Where I wake up Ariana, because now I'm like, okay, if they stole my car, they had access to open the garage, because my car is programmed to open the garage. So I wake up Ariana. I was like, we got to go to St. Pete. My car was stolen. So I get there, and on the way, the officer calls me. He's like, do you want to press charges? And I said, absolutely, I do.
Look, you better than
Absolutely.
me. I'd have been like, well, it depends. Are you going to give me the address of the people who stole my car? Because we can make a trade if you want. Because I just want to point out, because we've known each other for so long, that I'm listening to you share this story, and I'm very, very proud of you, because you're pretty well into this story, and you've yet to say who did it. I just want you to know, when you were talking and you were like, well, the first thing that popped in my head, I was thinking, who did it? Do you know who took my car? I don't care what condition my car's in. I need to know if you have located the individual that took my car. And we can save each other some time. You don't have to do any more paperwork. I don't have to do any more paperwork. Just tell me where they are. I just
Yes.
want to go talk to them.
Exactly. So I started off, and I can say that this is how I feel people deal with grief. You know that there's different stages.
Mm-hmm.
So I started off very nervous, like very frazzled, like you almost like forget everything, which I am not that type of person. I usually thrive like under pressure and under, we say it all the time. Like if my life is going well, I'll come to you and I'm like, oh, okay, I kind of feel blah, because everything's like
Because
Ariana's
nothing's
doing
on
well, and you're like,
fire.
right,
And
nothing's on fire. We're used to being something is always on fire around us, which what makes us good at what we do. So now I'm in the car. Ryan is driving us. So now, like, as we're going, I start getting pissed off, because now I'm like, you've completely disrupted my Sunday morning. Now I have to go drive to St. Pete. Gas is like almost $5 a gallon. So I have to drive 45
we'll come
minutes. It
back
was
to
like
that.
25 miles. Yeah.
We
Like
don't live in the same
25
place.
miles. We like 25 miles, and I have to go over the Skyway, which is tolls, right? Like, so now I'm getting really pissed. So we get to the apartment complex, and at that moment, I remember what the officer said, but I'm like, wait a minute, like the car is located like on the app. So I pull up the app, and it literally takes me through the entire apartment complex until we get to the car. So when I get there, the forensics specialist, crime scene investigator, whatever their title is, she's already done like dusting for prints or whatever. I get out, I speak to the officer. I get in the car and everything is gone. Like everything is gone. Like I was like in so much shock that I was like, it literally looked like, and when I say everything, I put the emphasis on everything because napkins, random napkins that, you store napkins inside of your
glove
car.
compartment.
Napkins were gone. Owner's manual gone. Ariana skates gone. I had this beautiful Italian leather bag that I bought myself like 2 years ago with my initials on it. That cost $450 because I remember I had that thing in my cart for a long time and I was like, do I want it? Do I want it? But I wanted like a nice clean bag to carry my work stuff in. That was gone. 2 of my laptops gone. I mean, everything. Like they cleared it out like it was a car rental. Like they took everything. So now it's like the fire starting to ignite and I'm fucking pissed. Like there is no nicey nice way to put it. I am pissed. So the one thing that I learned is that when you are a victim of this type of crime, they have to exclude your DNA. So they asked me for a DNA sample. And because, some people are very like iffy about that. Ryan right away was like, wait a minute, why do you need, her to swab the inside of her mouth?
Mr. Conspiracy Theorist himself.
Right. He's like, why do you need to do that? And my brother too, Hector's crazy as hell. But Hector was like, he would not give his DNA. Either way, I am a law-abiding citizen and I wanted them to catch whoever the hell took my car. Yeah. So if you need an eyelash, a strand from my head, like whatever it is that you need to do your investigation, I need you to find these fuckers because I'm pissed. Pissed, like beyond pissed. Like I had just gotten a few pair of like Lululemon leggings. I had 2 pairs of leggings in my car because I leave all my workout stuff. So these Beats, if you guys notice, they're a different color because they stole these. These were $340 gone. Like they took all my gym stuff, all my work stuff. They took dry cleaning. I had blazers and stuff in the trunk of my car that needed to be dry cleaned. They took my dry cleaning. They literally took everything. Everything. My Sun Pass, they took. Ryan has like a dash cam that he put in my truck. They took my dash cam, which I'm hoping they wouldn't have taken that because we would have been able to at least pull something from like the little chip. But they literally took everything. So now I'm pissed. And we were already in St. Pete, so we went to one of our breakfast spots or whatever. And now I'm like infuriated, texting everyone because I'm livid. And that's when everything kind of just started to settle in. And that's when I realized that, number one, they're like stupid, smart criminals. And I say that because I have learned so much from this experience that St. Pete and Hillsborough County do not have access to each other's criminal database. So because they took my car from Hillsborough County and they went to St. Pete, in order for there be any type of like detective work, the detectives need to speak to each other. So that was like completely mind blown. Like we're in the state of Florida. Why isn't there some type of like database where at least the surrounding counties can talk to each other and like view what's going on? So I found that out. Then as I'm like, now we're going on Monday and now I'm at work and now like my brain is starting to like spin and think about, then I start thinking about little things that like keychains that I've gotten from you, from Yen, you know, Christmas presents, like little keychains. I like keychains. They're gone. And they have sentimental value. So obviously, you
Right.
know, I can't get those back. Yes, I can go buy them again, but that's not the point. So I am sitting at work and my car has Apple CarPlay, and you can also connect it via Bluetooth. So I was like, I wonder if they connected their phone to my car. So I go outside and I get in the car, and not only did they connect their phone to my car, but they deleted my phone, my husband's phone, off and put their phone on. So I took pictures. Every phone has a Mac Bluetooth like ID. Every iPhone, every whatever phone. So when I clicked on the info, it told me what type of iPhone it was, who the carrier was, and the specific number to that
The
phone.
serial number.
Correct. So I took pictures of that, sent it to the detective, and that was like Monday going into Tuesday. Tuesday evening, I'm driving home, and I remember that Maury got me a set of AirTags because I'm always losing my keys. So I went to log into the AirTags, and now it is pinging to an address in St. Pete. So I'm like, all this SVUing and, you know,
They need to put a
random.
disclaimer in the front of the TV show that says, please do not try this at home. This is fictional. It's not even real.
Listen, I got interviewed by the FBI a long, long time ago for something that I did not do, but that I was a witness into somebody doing. And I remember telling the FBI agent that I've always wanted to be an FBI agent. And in the prior to this crime being committed, I was looking into it because I really think that I have like a calling when it comes to that. Because I feel like, yes, how did they steal the car? Because I'm sure that's what everyone's wondering. I have a fob, and I lost a fob inside of the car. My car is all black inside, literally. Like every little single thing in my car is black. I couldn't find my fob key. So what I've been doing is I've been like locking the car on my app. Well, apparently I probably didn't do that on Saturday. Or who knows, maybe there was a way to like kind of trick the keypad on the
Yeah.
door to open. I don't know. But either way, like I was telling my mother, I don't give a shit if I left the car running all day. That
Yeah,
is
it's
my
yours.
car. My car.
Right.
It's my car. It was in my driveway. Like, you don't fucking touch shit that does not belong to you. Period. So
Yeah.
I got their Bluetooth information, sent that to the detective. I gave my DNA to exclude myself from the car. I called the police. I said, hey, my car was stolen. Here's my case number. It was recovered in St. Pete. I have an AirTag that's pinging to this specific address. The first thing the officer said was, are you there now? No, I'm not here now. If I were here now, I would not be calling you. I'd be taking matters into my own hands, but I am calling you because you are the police. So then another thing that I learned was if a crime is committed, let's say in a different county, you said person has to specifically be in that county. If you have like an AirTag or a cell phone, like
You have
some
to be
people,
in the county when you
right, you
call
have to
that
be in the
county's law
county when you
enforcement.
call that county.
Yeah.
So I ended up coming home. I like again filled up my gas tank. Now I'm driving my own car that was stolen. So I feel some type of way about it. And I have to drive to St. Pete. So when I called the police, they met me wherever, like at a random location where I felt safe, is what the officer told me. So I get there, I call the police, they come to me, they ask me what's going on. Well, another thing that I learned is that because it's an AirTag, it does not. So every police officer has like a Find My Apple like that Find My Apple whatever app,
Mm-hmm.
or to find the items, and you can log in using your Apple ID, and then they're able to locate the item and go get it. Well, for whatever reason, the AirTags was not showing there, and I don't know if I just didn't look at it, but when I logged into the officer's phone, I couldn't find like where the AirTag was. So they're like, "Do you mind if we take your phone?" Because I don't know if you have an AirTag, but with the AirTags, it is specific to the location. So if Ryan loses his keys, I turn on the phone and it literally tells you if you're hot or cold. And it says, 50 feet, 5 feet, whatever, until you get to the AirTag. So this is now Tuesday evening, and the AirTag last pinged Monday morning. So the
Mm.
officer was like, they either disabled it, which you can do that. If you do find an AirTag and you put it towards your phone, you can program it and now it becomes your AirTag. However, if
Oh,
you mark your AirTag as lost or stolen, you can lock it and then that person cannot program it to their device. So
right.
I ended up locking it. They try to go, and basically, I don't know if they knocked on the person's door. I obviously could not go. And basically, what I was told was that the trash gets picked up on Monday, and that was the last time that the AirTag pinged to the cell tower or whatever. So
Mm-hmm.
they probably, what they think was, either they crushed it themselves, or when the garbage truck came to pick up the garbage and whatever they threw out, that
They
the
got
AirTag
crushed.
was crushed, because it showed that the AirTag had a full battery, and it is now a week. Today's Tuesday, so it is now a week later, and the AirTag is still not showing anywhere. So I learned many of things. The biggest thing is, if you live in a rental property, as we do, make sure that you always have homeowners rental insurance,
Mm-hmm.
because when your car is stolen, your car insurance only pays for the damage on the car, which I had zero, or if the car is stolen and it's never found again, then you file a claim and they obviously help you with that. But so actually, Ryan taught me that because he had an incident a while back where he had to file like through his Reynolds insurance. So now, like replacement value, it was probably $4,000 worth of stuff. So
Mm.
I will no longer keep anything personal in my car, because now I've been a victim. And it has now been about a week and a half. This Sunday will be 2 weeks since they found the car. I have not received any type of news, any leads. I haven't even heard a word from the St. Pete detective. Another thing that I highly recommend is to write down your serial numbers um, on your items, because not only in case of a car theft, but God forbid you have a house fire, or God forbid, your house floods, or I mean, you can, I don't know, have a party at your house and someone steal your stuff. Excuse me. You cannot, or if you have the serial numbers, they can put the serial numbers in this database that is shared nationwide. And if the person goes to try to sell it to the pawn shop or whatever the case may be, they mark that item as stolen and they give it back to you. So obviously, you know, I am I believe that there's great cops out there. I believe that there's bad cops out there. I do feel like we're in a time where, my car being stolen is not a top priority. But the issue that I have with that is that it's my car, then it's your car, then it's, whatever. Like if you have
Right.
30 cars stolen a month in one specific zip code, at some point, if it's not made a priority, they are going to continue. The other thing that the officer was telling me is that usually they are teenagers. So
Mm.
they get a little slap on the wrist and then they go about their business. But the amount of this feeling of being violated, and like
Mm.
driving in my car and knowing that somebody was in my car that doesn't make a car payment,
Mm.
You know, I just literally got my car cleaned, completely cleaned to get off, you know, all the dust from the dusting of the prints. And it's been one hell of a ride. And now we're going on 2 weeks. I still can't file a claim through the homeowners because I don't have the official police reports. That's another thing, too. You are charged for getting official copies of police reports. So I had to, it's not like a car accident where they give you the report right there or they email it to you. I had to put in an inquiry through Hillsborough County Sheriff's, and then I had to put one through the St. Pete PD in order to get both of these reports in order to file a claim, which has, it's going to continue to extend the amount of time, you know, that I have to constantly be reminded about this. So I have learned a lot of things. And what I do want to share is that I am not the same person that I was 10 years ago.
Mm-mm.
10 years ago, I know some people that know some people, and we would have taken matters into our own hands. And me personally, I don't believe in violence unless you, like, if you come for me, I'm not going to stand down. But you never know someone's situation. I could have been a complete psychopath and had put multiple dead bodies in my car. And now you have the balls to come into my neighborhood, take the car from my driveway, drive off in my car 25 miles, taking tolls. So you're putting yourself in this situation. You never know who, like, what that person's story is. So while you're out here being cute, I'm sure driving recklessly 25 miles to drop off my car at some random apartment complex, you don't know my story. You don't know who I am. You don't know who I know. You don't know who my brother is. So it's beyond that, because not only have you impacted my life, but now Ariana puts on the alarms every night. We have like an alarm system, but she makes sure that the garage door is locked so that if they get into the garage, they can't get into the door. We have like little alarms like on the windows and the front door. She put those on at nights. When I took her to her dad, she like would call me. She would call me every day and be like, "Oh, you survived." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Because now it is.
Poor baby.
She's
She
like
said, "It's
worried.
crazy out here. You know, you never know." We went out to dinner. We came home. Everything was
Right.
fine.
And
Woke up
then
the
your
next
car was
morning, and a
stolen.
whole vehicle was missing from the driveway.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it does shake
It really
I
is.
think it shakes your foundation of
Absolutely.
security.
Because my home is where I feel safe. We talk about that all the time. We just don't allow random people into our house. It's not happening. This is like
Mm-mm.
my safe place. This is where my kid sleeps. This is where my dog lives. This is where like this is our home. So no, I'm not bringing random people to my house for them to bring their spirits, their energy into my little safe haven. So for you to take that from my driveway with zero fucking regards to who I am, what I know, who I know, and then you go and drop off the car, now you've not only have you violated me in that way, but now you've taken all my things. Like I had Ariana's physical. She recently went for a physical. They took the paperwork. Like and
For
then
what?
like exactly. So, and shout out to the anonymous neighbor that reported that they saw them back my car in, and when the suspects got out of the car, they were wiping down like the handles, and they saw that and
Oh.
contacted the police, which is why my car was reported stolen before I even had a chance to get up and report it stolen. So there are some good people out there. I will not let this go because they fucked with the wrong person. I do not play about my stuff, especially, I when I tell the story to different people, I get oh, well, at least your car was found safe. No, bitch. Like, no. No, I don't
But you know what it
care.
is that like I said earlier, I said I was very proud of you because again, I'm I had somewhat of a similar situation. I didn't have a vehicle that was actually taken, but somebody tried to steal it. And I know how different it is because you and I have also been somewhere and had a vehicle towed. And initially, you don't know why your car is not where you left it. You just
Right.
know it's not. But the feeling of coming out of a public establishment, going to where you believe you parked your car and your car being missing, is very different than going outside your house and something having happened to your vehicle. Because, like you said, wait a minute, this means somebody came and violated my safe space.
Right.
Not I went
Right.
out into the world and I was in a place that this happened. No, this happened
Correct.
in my home where I'm
Right.
supposed to be safe, where things are supposed to be okay. Like you said, you don't live in a bad neighborhood. Like you made it a
No.
point to find a place in a good school
Yes.
district and all this other
Right.
stuff. And
You do
apparently,
all the right things
for
and
what,
it doesn't
right?
matter.
Because they
Exactly.
still came to your doorstep to violate you. And yes, the type of people that we are, where we come from, says, if you come to my doorstep, I'm coming to yours.
Right.
However, we had to grow a little bit, you know? And I
Absolutely.
do want to share the thoughts that were running through my mind when you text me a few days after and said, the air tag is pinging. I'm on my way. I was like, and for all of those who don't understand, so I do not remember when I said we're going to come back to that. She was talking about, inflation and gas prices and stuff. She said gas is almost $5. I paid $6.19 for gas 2 weeks ago. Okay. Now, mind you, I do have what is considered a luxury vehicle, so I use premium. However, so do you.
Right.
And where I live, though, all the gas is $5. Okay, it's $4 that you're talking about.
Yeah.
I
We
don't know.
literally,
Okay,
I think the highest it's hit
you
like
got premium
close
gas
to
for
5.
4 point anything.
No. No. No, there's
Okay, because
no
I was
no. It's gone down here, but just the fact that now you are like I feel like the money keeps adding up. So now I see
and
why
it
people
does.
do
It does.
I see why people like get hurt or whatever and then they follow suit. Like if I were in a different place and I knew who these individuals were, like I like violation plus my time plus my like just the anxiety of like I have so much crap that I have to replace. And thank God I work at a place where my boss him and I are on the same page when it comes to understanding. But I was telling the story yesterday to Ryan's best friend and he was telling me that his company has threatened to terminate their employees if they are to lose laptops because the amount of sensitive information that they have on them.
We
And
had a
for me, it's
company
the same thing.
policy against it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, luckily for me, I work for a small business and, we were able to replace the laptop. But now you're fucking with my check. And I have a big issue with that because you've not only have taken from me, I will never forget this experience. I've learned a lot from it. I literally have OCD now about locking my car. Like I lock it when I get home. I make sure to lock both cars before we go to bed because now that's like in my head. But you've caused so much uproar in my life to where now we're going on 2 weeks and I still don't have half my shit back because now I have to wait. Oh, and let's not forget the fact that my deductible is, because it's considered a burglary. I hate saying that word.
Burglary.
Burglary. It's my
It's your
Spanish.
Latina.
It is. It's like there's certain words around. I literally sound like I just got off the plane from the island. But now I have to pay $1,000 deductible. So I am not going to get back $4,000. I am going to
Right.
get back $3,000. So I've taken a loss in so many little areas that, again, I see why some people get pushed to that edge and then they make decisions that impact the rest of their lives. Because when everything first happened, my initial thought was after breakfast, I was going to go back to the apartment complex and I was going to drive slowly and see if I could find anyone who looked suspicious at my car.
Oh my
And
God.
also I wanted to go through the dumpster and see if they threw my stuff in there. And my husband told me that I needed to go home and I did not need to go back to the
This is why
place.
we love Mr. Crane,
Yes,
because
we do. Cause
he
boy, literally, Ariana called me too. Cause Ariana ended up riding with Ryan on the way back home. Cause now we had the two cars, and Ariana's like, "Mom," cause they like I went a different way than they went, and she's like, "I just wanted to make sure that you weren't going back to the apartment to look in the dumpsters." And I was like, "No, baby, I'm on my way home."
she
But
knows her mother.
she does, and it's an unfortunate situation. One thing, even in my lowest point in my life financially, I have never, ever, ever, ever touched anybody's property, taken something that doesn't belong to me. Because for me, it's if I know how hard it is to work for these things. My car wasn't free, and I make
Mm.
monthly payments. Still, I still got about 2 more years to go. So it's unfortunate that we live in this society where people think that it is okay to go to somebody's house and take something that does not belong to you and get away with it, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm sure as time goes on, this is going to be less and less of a priority to the detectives. And it's nothing against the police. I completely understand. There's, murders and bigger fish to fry, but because there is not enough done in these situations, they continue to happen. Because
And
why not?
I, yeah, I think it's interesting that, like, we have a lot of friends that are, police officers, and being who we are and being where we come from, right? We have these same candid conversations with them about how we want to handle things, and they're always like giving us a bit of insight, because unfortunately we don't have enough police officers, right? To
No.
deal with everything that is happening, to be able to say, like, when you go to a hospital, there are enough, well, they try to have enough doctors, nurses, attendants to deal with the various levels of issues. So when you come in the emergency room, if you're leaking spray and blood, then obviously you get prioritized and, go into surgery. But if you
Yeah.
come in and it's not something that's life threatening, it's not that they don't attend to you, right? They say you
Right.
just have to wait, which is kind of
Right.
the same situation here. But
Right.
unfortunately, the difference between the hospital and your scenario is even if you have to wait a long time, as long as you're sitting in that waiting room, at some point someone's going to
Right.
attend
Someone's
to
going
you.
to see you. Right.
But these situations that are not life threatening, that there was no bodily harm done, and that at the end of the day, you're going to get more than 50% of your money back, like, your situation could have been 10 times worse. However, the judgment of those who say this is no longer a priority don't have to live out the rest of the situation. Because,
Right.
like you said, this scenario has affected not only you, but the rest of your family. And now there's an emotional response to it because you're constantly thinking of, well, this could happen again. So you're
Right.
on guard, you're on 10,000 with every little thing, and you sometimes become neurotic about things. And it's unfortunate because we don't have a basis of teaching people how to deal with loss, right? We have all this curriculum that we teach and say, these are the things that you need to be a good, successful contributor to our society. But we never teach how to properly deal with loss of all kind, whether you lose a pencil or whether you lose a person. I mean, I'm very close
No,
to
you're
my
right.
pencils. So for me, if I lose a pencil, it's a big deal. But
Don't let anybody
again,
take my favorite pen at work, because let me
see
tell
what I'm
you, I
saying?
will
Because you
I will go around
walk
looking at
around to
everybody's little
everybody's
desk.
desk talking about something. Let me see what pen you're writing with. I need to make sure that you didn't take my pen. Like, yeah, because we're
Yes,
those
you're
kind of
right.
people.
Yeah. And we don't. There's nothing out there. And I forgot to mention, and you said something that brought it all back up. When this happened on a Sunday, and on I called Ford. I called Ford Pass. I called because they stole the key. I was hoping that they left the key behind and it was just like a joyride situation. They stole the key.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, even though they did take my key chains, my house key was not in there. So that gave me a little bit of peace of mind. I never carry a house key. For
Mm-hmm.
honestly, for situations like this, but nobody was open to unprogram that key. So because they took my car manual that has the code to my door that was assigned by Ford, Ryan had to reprogram that.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to literally, even though we changed the lock because they had the key, they can just like unlock the door and take the car again. So the
Right.
police were like, if we were you, we would try to block in one of your cars with your so that they don't take it again because they know where you live. So I didn't sleep that night. And then the next
Yeah.
day it was
So
$280 to have someone come out,
to
give me a
reprogram.
new key, and reprogram the car to only read the two keys and delete that key from the thing. So again, it's like every time I turn around, I think about something else that was in the car, or it just brings back
You
like
can't
all
let it
these.
go. It
No,
becomes a situation where you want to get over it. You want to just forget that
right,
it happened, but
right.
things keep coming up. And it's like, and listen, you were talking about the whole key situation and them coming back or whatever. I know a guy who might have slept in the car, hoping they came back so that he would be there when they decided to try it for round two. And that goes back to what you were saying about you never know who
No,
you're running across. The
no.
movie John Wick was supposed to teach people that. This
Very
average
good
looking
movie.
white guy at the gas station pumping his gas with his little
Minding his
dog in the
business.
car,
Minding his
you
business.
know, and they just wanted to pick on someone, and then he killed everybody. Everybody. Because they killed his dog.
Yeah.
Like, people think that they can impose their will on other people without consequence. And that is just not a reality. But it's interesting because I also have an alternative perspective about the whole scenario that, again, I feel like is somewhat of an unpopular opinion and people don't talk about. If you've ever been victimized or violated in any way, then you understand the basis of the feelings, that you have right now. But I often look at it from the perspective of, and this same guy that I know always points this out to me, the possibility of that happening was there every day, right? we get so comfortable in the perception of our security, and this is at every level: individual, family, society, country, world. We act like, because we put a couple measures in place, that it means we're good and we don't have to worry about anything, which is part of the reason why we're so taken aback when something crazy happens.
Right.
But if you think about people who live in other countries, war-torn countries, where every single day while you're in class, an alarm could go off where you got to get under your desk because they're bombing.
Right.
When you come from that kind of place, you're not so surprised at the evil of the world because you see it every single
Right.
day. And you know not to take for granted what you have, so you do what we would say is a ritual. People who have OCD, which some people like to say I have, whatever, I don't claim it. But
I think we all have a little bit of OCD.
no. I know a lot of people who don't have any of it because they have no order and stuff is everywhere. So everybody don't have OCD. Anywho. Sorry, I just had a Tourette moment. But we should do the same things. The protocols that we have in place that are supposed to ensure our safety and security should never, ever be laxed, right? However, convenience and comfort are the enemy of safety and security, because you can't have both. You can't have the convenience of what we have today without sacrificing some of the security and safety, and understanding that by it being more lax. And it's proven every single day. After 9/11, all of our travel was locked down. And then it was cool. Everybody was with it for like the first 3 months. Then it was like, I got to go somewhere. I don't want to have to jump through all these hoops.
Right.
Yeah. We know they bombed, but then we figured out that it was this and then it was that. And no, I don't want to have to deal with this. But you can't have. A lot of movies like to depict that to have security and freedom together is not a real thing. Because if you're secure and safe, you're not free to do whatever you want.
Right.
You can't be. And to remind people and to remind you, like, number one, you're covered and favored no matter what happens, right? And we talk about that all the time. God got you. Even though crazy, crappy stuff happens, he still has you, because, yeah, you were able to actually find your car without any damage. Now, the things that were in it and everything else that you have to deal with, yes, you're going to have to go through that. But you would have to go through that regardless. And they could have totaled your car.
No, absolutely.
And now you don't have a vehicle at all. Because I know some people who, again, had their car stolen. Same situation happened. They found it, but they found it bullet holes and like it wasn't operable.
I mean, honestly, based on everything that I've seen, I'm pretty sure that these were kids that took the car. Kids not smart enough to know that my car is a 2019 baby. I have so many features on my app that even if you were to turn around and try to sell this car, you would have to have stolen it and chopped it up within the first 45 minutes to an hour of taking it. And I know that because I know people that know people that have done said things. Right. We watch a lot of movies. So I have physically seen someone take a motorcycle and have it chopped up and boxed up to send to another country within an hour. Right. So I know enough to know that whoever did this was dumb and smart at the same time, because they were able to cross it from county to county. But they also, if they were cleaning out my car to use my car for something else, that doesn't work when you have all this technology in place. So I don't know the specifics because I don't have the police report yet as to when the concerned citizen called the police. I don't know what time the car was stolen, because like I said, I got home like at 9-ish and I didn't get up until 6. And that wasn't my first thought, to go outside and see, if my car was there.
If your car was still there. Right. But I bet you think about it now.
Absolutely. When I
You're
woke
poking
up
your
the
head out
next
the front
day,
door just to...
literally Ryan was like, babe, right now, because he's working on restoring the Mustang and building the engine, our garage looks like a machine shop. So I cannot put my car in the garage. And his car is too long for me to park in front of it and him behind it. And
right.
So at that point, I was like, you know what? Y'all gonna come get the car? Come get the car. I made sure that the doors were locked. I deprogrammed the garage door opener so that if they got in the car, they couldn't open the garage to come inside. So I did all these measures because now I am aware that this can happen. Because you're right, I did get comfortable. I should have looked for my key a little bit harder. I should have made sure that the car was locked when I got home. And I didn't do any of those things because I did get comfortable. And I was like, no, that's the last thing you think about, right? That someone's going to come and steal your car. Sonia, you were telling me that you wanted to share something before we wrap this puppy up.
I did. And it kind of goes back to the concept of, are we really safe all the time? And I just want to encourage people not to let the pendulum swing too far either direction. We need to be willing to give up some conveniences to have a bit more safety. I remember, I'm old enough to remember when motorcycle helmets became a requirement. And I remember in Florida, a lot of people were petitioning against making motorcycle helmets a requirement because they said it was uncomfortable and it's more difficult to see and all these things. And I'm like, yeah, but if you turn the corner going 15 miles an hour and fall off the bike, stupid, you could be a vegetable for the rest of your life. Now, on that particular issue, because to be honest, if a motorcyclist does not wear a helmet, it actually doesn't hurt anyone else. I was like, you know what? Hey, you don't want to wear a helmet when you ride? Knock yourself out. Literally, But for other things, I just feel like as a society, we need to understand there should be balance. And there needs to be balance across the board. And there should be balance in our responses as well. We talked about, look, if this was 10 years ago, you'd have called me, hit me up, said, yo, they took my car, I'd have came, scooped you, we'd have went and got it back. Probably got some of your stuff too. Felt a lot better after.
Yeah,
but then
absolutely
might have had to repent to Jesus.
You learn from those things. You learn from those things, and I agree with you. I think we, as a society, like you mentioned about the helmets, we were coming back from Denver last February. So this was actually this February. So we're talking about a real live story. And we were going through TSA, and there was a older white lady. We're going to call her Karen. And she was traveling, I believe, with her son and her husband. And Ryan and I watched this lady trying to convince the TSA agent to let a knife go through security, because she got this knife from, it's a antique and it's a this, and literally it was a
switch, why God doesn't let me be in those situations, because I need Nia, you to know
when I tell you for a whole 15 minutes, okay, this lady, something happened with one of our bags that it wasn't reading through. And TSA has a rule where if the bag or the shoes or whatever, if they do not read through the x-ray, they cannot just open it and like check it. It has to be recorded that this bag went through, which we learned that because we were like, what the hell? It was like Ryan's jacket because we went during the winter. So it was like a big old puffy jacket and like shoes. And we're like, there's nothing in the jacket. So we were like bitching about it amongst ourselves because we're like looking at the clock and we like to be at the gate, have a drink, do whatever before we fly out. And the lady overheard us and she said there's a policy that it has to be like recorded through the x-ray. And when I tell you, this lady put the jacket in there like 3 times. So why all this is going on, all these people are going around us, and I am listening to this lady try to convince this gentleman that her knife needed to go through security. And I'm listening. First of all, we're still going through COVID, right? So there was like a plexiglass thing. So instead of her standing where she's supposed to stand, she is around the glass this close to the agent, begging him to let this knife go through. And I'm like looking at Ryan like, are you listening to this shit?
I'm telling you, I can't be in those places because here's the thing.
I'm like,
I would have been behind her in line, and as she is pleading her case to the TSA representative, I'm behind her going, and if you let that knife go through, sir, I'm going to have your job and everybody else's in this airport is going to be named after me. I wish you would. Karen,
literally,
give him your knife and mail it back home, honey. Because what you're not about to do is stab me on the other side of the security because you convinced him it was an artifact.
Okay, well, correct. No. Correct. She was like, well, can you at least keep the knife? Like, I would hate for it to be thrown away. And he's like, no, I cannot keep the knife.
Yeah.
You're more than welcome.
I got it. I'll keep it. Right in this
You're more than
file
welcome
cabinet.
To go.
The circular file cabinet. That's the bottom of my desk on the right. I got some papers and stuff in it too. I'll put it right there.
Literally. I was like,
this is what I mean.
You know what? I'm calling her a Karen because to me, and we will talk about this in another episode, to me, a Karen is someone who feels entitled enough to praise all the rules, but not when it applies to them. And it can't be like that, honey. You overstepped your boundaries by going around basically begging this guy to keep the knife, and the guy is telling you you can get out of line, go out of security, go mail the knife if it is that important to you, but this knife cannot come through. And you're over here doing the whole pity party. Now I know damn well if it would have been me or my husband or you that we were traveling with, we went on a trip to New York where one of my cousins was pulled to the back because he had like gunpowder residue on his hands because he cleaned the gun and moved the gun and put it in the safe before we went on the trip because we were going to be gone for 5 days. And because of that,
they gunpowder residue
because he got pulled over randomly. And then when they went to go check his hands or whatever, it tested positive for it. So how are you that entitled to want to try to convince this man? Literally, first of all, he handled it way nicer than I did. He told her, he said, I value my job and this is not going to go through.
Exactly.
So you can take yourself, go ship it off to wherever or handle it that way, but you will not be taking this knife past this point. And she was so insistent that it was infuriating. But I agree with you. I think that we do become lax when we get comfortable, and there has to be there's a thin line between being paranoid and also being aware enough
Mm-hmm.
to know that these things can happen, and you have to be on the lookout, because the officer did tell me this was a job of opportunity. They were probably checking all the cars in the neighborhood, and when they got to your car, not only was your car open, but they freaking hit the brake and turned the car on and they drove off. Or it could very well be that somebody was watching me as well. Like there's a multitude
Mm-hmm.
of opportunities or of things that could have happened to where they noticed, whatever, and then they got ballsy. But best believe every time I drive through the neighborhood, I'm like,
listen,
looking
I
at
told you,
every little
when we
person.
had a vehicle that was attempted, that they didn't get to steal it, probably because they couldn't figure it out, but I got in the van and they had pulled down the steering column and they had been trying to probably jam like a screwdriver into the key, because it still used the key, because I went to go put the key in and it was difficult, and I was like, what the, and then I realized the whole steering column had been pulled apart and all this. They didn't even get the car, and this was a very long time ago, okay, because I don't want people to be like, what? You did? I was much younger, okay, and I hadn't grown as much as I've grown now. My son was a baby, and my son is 17, so that'll give you some indication of how long it was. And we were living in St. Pete, and the I drove around that neighborhood like I was casing the place. And I don't know, this is why I say, like, you got to have the right perspective and you got to have the right balance of, really being able to look at the situation the right way. Because at the end of the day, they didn't get the vehicle, right? They tried, but they were unsuccessful. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. But I'm not going to lie, I just get mad that the weapons are even formed. This is just how I am. The fact that you tried,
I agree.
I feel some kind of way.
Agree.
And I drove around that neighborhood and waited for one person to look twice at that van. I was so bad. One day when you see the kids, ask them, because my children were with me, and they'd be like, Mom, why are we going this way? We don't live on this side. Lord. But I was like, nah, I'm going to find out, because that violation
but listen,
of like, nah.
Absolutely, that they even tried it. And that, again, like, especially living in Florida and even where you live now, if you don't have a car, you have no life. There is no going from A to B. So again, you're messing with my money. You've messed with my sense of security. And as I keep going, right, someone has to pay for that. So yeah, we're looking for you. And
we're just gonna pray with you when we find you. We're gonna make sure that you know the Lord, and the pardoning of your sins He can do for you. And we're just gonna lay some hands on you and pray with you. Okay.
And we're gonna make sure that this does not happen again, because I do believe that every situation is not learned until you learn a lesson. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for joining. We will be back with part 2 of being a victim and how to deal with it. And until then, make sure you share our videos, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and I am hopefully going to put all of the episodes on Spotify, because I know a lot of you like to listen in the car, and you can't do that on YouTube. Anytime you go to another app, it does cancel it out. So be on the lookout for that, and we will talk to you later. Thank you guys so much for joining.
Bye.